Hey, welcome to another week of Ring Along. Without further ado, Mabel's waiting patiently for her little snack. How are you guys doing on the other end? We got some peanut butter and yogurt and salmon and duck. The duck is her crack. Her lick mat, but her favorite. She's just patiently waiting. I don't know, can you see her? She's being so good. I think she's being really good because of the heat. So here you go, Maybel. Have that little tasty treat. Oh, she's so cute. I should do one of those ASMR videos with Maybel licking one of her lick mats. Get some slow motion in there. How's everyone doing today? I think that we might have someone new as a viewer, which is pretty exciting. I don't know if that's Daniel Art in there, but hello, welcome. Yeah, anyway, I'm just going to dive in. I'm just going to dive into this rig and we'll just get to it. I think that last week we made some pretty cool progress. I'm looking forward to continuing that. Oh, what's going on with my camera? Come on. There we go. All right. Here we go. So here's girl number 7. Let's see. Let's go over what we did last week. We started to bring some of the pieces into the face, some of the details. We also went and finished the eye, and I don't know if we finished the mouth. Yeah, we did finish the mouth. And we did add that structure. We can still see that there's some details hidden in Luis's PDF file. You can see that there's some color spots that are here that I haven't quite brought in yet or haven't come across from the PDF file. So we're going to bring that in. We're going to keep looking for those, I should say. Lots of texture in the hair that's still missing, but this character is really starting to take shape. And I think today what we're going to work on is we're just going to go neck down, and we'll start with the neck and the body. And if we're lucky, we'll get to the arms. We'll see how that flows today. Yeah, if you guys have anybody, if you have any questions in the chat, feel free to let me know, and I'll try to answer them. We're making cartoons over here, and this particular project belongs to Luis Gadea, who's a very talented designer out in LA. He is very much well known for his style and shapes. And I'm a particular fan. Let's see, where are we? Where are we with these pieces? Which one is this? We're in the hair. I think everything that has a peg is in the hair. All right, low band. That would be this right here. But it doesn't seem to be there yet. So let's mark that with a drop box or a backdrop. All right, we got ponytails, we got hair, we've got the braid, we've got the under chin, and we've got, we don't have her neck yet, so let me mark that. Let's give these ones pegs, because they have drawings that just kind of help fit the theme. The Marianne-ack. Hey, hello. Nice to see you again. How's it going over there? What projects are you working on lately, if I can ask? Okay, let's separate these. So this is the next part. This is the completion of the head. So let's keep these separated. We're gonna have the ponytail is gonna have be connected to the ponytail lines. The braid is going to be connected to the braid lines. And then this still needs a drawing, but that will probably be connected to the braid. We'll just do that for now. And that'll be connected to the ponytail. So we'll call this the ponytail mane. Let's get this little hierarchy out of the way so we don't have to think about it. Mane, and then we can move on to some rigging. Braid. Mane. We'll call this one the braid master. How's everyone doing with the heat? Is it summer where you are? Updating your portfolio and cleaning up some visual development pieces. Nice, excellent. That's awesome. That's fantastic. We are talking a lot about portfolios in my portfolio workshop right now. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm learning a lot. I'm learning so much about how the different departments look at a portfolio. It's very interesting. So far, we've gone through the art department. So we had storyboards yesterday, and then tomorrow I'm going to be giving my workshop. So it'll be all about real rigging demo reels. Braid. What do we call this? Braid plus. Let's do braid plus elastic. What is this thing called? Band plus band. The smell of peanut butter is so thick in here now, and my eyes are burning from the peanut butter. And she's almost done. She's almost out of her treat. Yeah, it's hot. I cranked the AC before, for the last hour before the Twitch stream to see if I could like cool the room off, to see if I could last. I don't know if I'm gonna last. I might have to turn the AC back on. I was trying to be conscious of the mic. All right, that's the ponytail. That's good. That's out. That's out of the way. All right, so let's start bringing in other pieces to this character. So first of all, we're gonna need the shape. We're gonna have to. I don't know if she needs a neck. She might just have this body shape, but we can give her a deformer so that it looks like she's got a neck. So we can kind of like fake it. We can just have one piece. That might be the easiest. So let's do this. Let's just name this body for now. And let's align the design. All right. To clean up your portfolio because you're a film student and I want to work on the art department, both on live action and animation, but I've to classify both parts and I'm having a hard time with that. That's fair. And that's a really good question, because this is actually something that we are talking about in the workshop. You should definitely have two different demo reels, animation and live action, completely different mediums, like 100%. It's not that people don't cross over. I'm pretty sure that they do and they can, especially when you get into coordinating and producing. There's probably a lot of more crossover there. But you wouldn't want to show your demo reels for the one and the other. So keep them completely separate. They're both going to look for completely different things. I can't speak for live action, but I know for animation, especially for if you're trying to get into the art department, do I recommend any easy website builders? You know what? That's also a good question. When I was making my website, I tried them all. The only one I didn't try was Wix. But I went with Squarespace, and I enjoy Squarespace. It's very easy to build. I found that you get a 2-week period for like free, and I basically used that 2-week period and built like several websites using every platform. But the one for Squarespace, I felt like it gave me the most professional feel, and I felt like it matched my vision to what I was building the easiest. WordPress for me was definitely the hardest. It was definitely the most involved, although my cousin loves his WordPress website, so definitely give that a shot. It's a little bit more, I don't want to call it text-based, but I'm a bit more visual, so I liked the ease of Squarespace, and I'm pretty sure Wix is kind of like that. So you might want to test Wix versus Squarespace and see which one you like. The other aspect of it is Squarespace kind of has like pockets where you have to pay. So depending on which part of the website you're using, or what options that you pay a little bit more. It's not super expensive, but these things do add up over time. So that's something to look at. I'm not quite sure what Wix costs, but yeah, I would give those two a shot. I did find that those website builders were like the easiest. They're basically like plug and play. Yeah, I'm pretty sure too. The only reason why I didn't test out Wix at the time was I couldn't remember the name. And at that point I was on my 5th website and I just wanted to make the decision. I was done. So that's why I landed on Squarespace. I was happy and I was like, I can handle this. We're going. It's on. But if you're going to test out a couple websites and you're looking for something that's easy, I would test out Wix and Squarespace and see which one you like more. But as for, let's see, animation, I'm trying to think of like what you could do. Art departments, we talked a lot about mood paintings, and this is from our art department. This is not my information. I'm actually sharing an artist from Vancouver. She's an art director. She's worked on a lot of television shows. I feel like she's worked on a movie, a feature film, but I might be wrong in that department. But her name's Karen Poon. And I really love her artwork. I'm not sure, poonyart.com, I believe is her website. But she was talking a lot about if you're going for animation, you really want to make sure that your structure and your shapes, I'm missing one. Hang on, let me check my notes. Let me go. I won't give you all the notes, but I will give you this one. This is something that you want to focus on. Where is it? Volume, perspective, and structure. Those are your art fundamentals. So in animation, you really, really want to show off your art fundamentals. So that's like your shapes. Luis is really good at this too. You could definitely look at his website. You can just Google his name. I'll put it in the chat. Luis Gadea. Take a look. And I want to plug Karen. I want to say her artwork is Poony Artwork, Poonieart. And she will say that her demo or her portfolio is old. I feel like Louise is kind of old too, so don't. He's super talented, but I don't know if his portfolio is up to date. But they're both really good examples of like using shape for different structures and like really being creative in that sense. They would be really, really good references for that. And the other thing would be mood paintings. So a mood painting is when you just draw an image from a dramatic scene from a movie, and that was something that Karen was saying that like that's a really good way to show a lot of different types of skills, like whether you can kind of do layouts, you can do creative, you want to create intrigue. You want to make sure that your content is structured in a way that you grab that person's attention in the first like 30 seconds. If you don't have their attention in the first 30 seconds, they're just going to move on. What else can I say? What else can I say about that? And also, don't overcrowd your website. That was something that kept coming up. Use white space as your friend. You don't want to have too much white space. Like, I mean, now we just have a floating white square in the frame, in the rectangle. But you know, this would all be considered dead space. So you kind of want to figure out a way to use that dead space, but you also don't want to overcrowd. When people are just starting to get into the industry, and their experience levels are on the lower end, I find that they need to see more. So like there's like this balance of like a seesaw where you're going to be a little off kilter. So the earlier you are in your career, the more you want to see. Whereas if you are a little bit like more experienced, you want to see less so that you can focus on the important parts. So just try really hard to remember that when you're putting your artwork out there, a lot of times less is more. So just keep that in mind. Portfolio tips. So glad you asked. If you have any other questions, feel free. Drop them in. What am I gonna do for this one? I need a new color. Oh, Maybel's over there eating. Eating her other snuffle mat. I can hear her ripping it. Alright, so this character here, we better set up a circle joint system. So I'm gonna, just for her waist, it's not even really that big of a deal, but I'm gonna do it anyway because practice is always good. So I'm gonna go Control R. I'm gonna call this circles. I know I didn't spell that right, but that's all right. Where is it? Whoa, Maybel, I can hear you. Okay. Cool. I feel like she's gonna get sick behind me. Okay. All right, so let's give this a proper waist location. So let's do the edge of her waist here, and we'll see. No, this is going to be too big. This is going to be a very big circle. Let's see. might not be worth it. That's if you notice the shapes, what I'm looking at right, maybe not, I don't know. It's pretty good for the bottom half. It could fit her shape very nicely, whereas the top half, it seems to be not quite working. Let's see, let's try. Kind of like it for the bottom half. So what I'll probably do is just use the full circle for the bottom half of the body, for the skirt, and I won't use the full circle for the shirt, but because one of these drawings that are overlapping are using that circle, we're gonna have full coverage, so it's gonna be fine. Yes, to balance is everything. I also have some background on graphic design, so that really helps. That will really help. The problem is that I focus on that way too much sometimes. Yeah, it's hard. Just remember, and especially give your website to somebody else. Let somebody else look at it too. Get some other outside feedback, because that's really how you start to see how your stuff looks to other people. That's usually the step that people don't like to take, but that's usually the most important step. So feel free to put your stuff out there and get some sort of feedback, and then you can make changes. And keep that in mind too while you're creating the site, that it's a little bit of a construction zone. So that means like keep your files organized. You might need to go back to something and change the size of the image. I'm using Canva for a lot of my stuff, and I really love how easy it is for me to go in and change. I was really if you look at my Instagram right now, I'm really struggling with making a cover art for the reels, the size of the reels, because you have the whole foam, but you also have the squares. So I'm trying to figure out how to make a cover that's going to fit both. It doesn't get cropped in a weird way. So if you look at my last few Insta posts, you can kind of see that they're cropped funny, but you would want to avoid that. I can let that slide a little bit, because I'm just a little bit more lenient on myself, I guess, there, because I'm still learning about this process. But if you're putting together a portfolio reel, you want to be, or a portfolio, you want to be pristine, as close to pristine as possible. But yeah, sounds like you're gonna be good. Just remember to think about the bigger picture, especially if you start to hyper focus on that graphic design stuff. Just pull out a little bit, macro focus on the whole thing rather than like this image, and just keep it really, really organized. That's another thing. Keep your portfolio really, really organized, and make sure you distinguish your work versus if you've got anybody else collaborating with you. Make sure that those distinctions are very clear and not confusing. That's another big tip. You don't want to be confusing at the same time as you do want to be organized. Two different things. I struggle with both. I probably struggle with both. Okay, let me draw with my cutter because I can't see anything. All right, so I got this. Let me dive in for my my center point. Okay. I'm gonna put this in the neck for a second because let's do this. Copy view B. Always create drawing files, create new columns every single time. Let's do the body will be above the skirt. Okay, so now sometimes I try to add way too much detail about the process instead of actually finding a visual way of showing it. Yeah, for sure. And like it's really easy. I like this came up in the discussion too. Like I like seeing the structure and the process of work because I'm an engineer. I like to see the inside of things. I like to know how things work. But you have to keep in mind that the people that are looking at the demos and the reels are not necessarily like that might not be that kind of person that likes how it's made. Unless you're applying for a props department, they might like that might be something like, and I mean by that in a live action sense. Don't quote me on this. I have no idea. But if I was a props manager, I would probably, or a, you know, people have to make stuff for that stuff. So I would want to see the final product, and depending on what it was that I was looking at, how it was made would be just as interesting. But in animation, they want to see final product. They want to know that you can fit in with the team. Don't be afraid to look at studios in general and see what they're doing and try to match their style. I was even thinking like, how awful would it be? This is awful. How awful would it? I don't know how I'd feel if somebody did this to me. But when I was working on Cloudy with a Chance Meatballs, there were episodes out while we were still working on it. So I know that we were hiring for some positions, and we definitely got people applying to work on the show. And we got a couple questions to come in, and they were asking, and I appreciate that because then that shows me that they're willing to learn and they're willing to change and willing to understand what our process is to how they fit in before they even get on the team. So I think that's kind of a big deal. I don't think you always get a response back, but I really appreciate that kind of a move from somebody who's applying. But here's where it gets dark. Let's say you went through a cartoon and you picked apart all of the mistakes, because you can see I can see mistakes when I watch cartoons. I can see, if I watch my cartoons, other shows that I've worked on, I can see the mistakes that we've made. And I say we, the royal we, they're really my mistakes, because it's like the mistakes I had to let go to keep the show going. But every show has a bunch of mistakes. When I watch any cartoon, I can pull apart some things. And it's almost like if you were to go and correct those mistakes, that would get somebody's attention. I don't know if it would be a good attention, but it'd probably get their attention. So if you look at a studio and you look at that work, that would be interesting. Okay, let's grab this color. IRT. Okay, so I'm gonna hide the skirt, and I'm going to I've got the body, but I kind of want to call this the shirt. It's not really the body. SHIRT. All right, let's finish this. And now, since I used that circle joint for the skirt, as I mentioned, I won't have to really worry so much about this top piece, is because as long as one of these shapes is connected to the circle, and by that I mean like the full circle, I can kind of get away with making some small changes here. So we'll still have, like, when it rotates, we'll still have a complete closure. I don't know why my program is creating contour points, but let's see. All right, I think that's it. Ooh, Maybel, gassy. One of the things that I was bummed about this week, however, I've already reordered them, is I bought Maybel the buttons to talk. I'm going to try and teach Maybel to speak, and she farts a lot, and I've been trying to point out that it's gassy. So when either of us make body noises, I've been pointing it out that it's gassy, so I'm going to have a gassy button. I'm going to see if I can teach her to point out that she's gassy. We'll see. It seems ambitious. A risky strategy, but if I know, right? I have no idea. I feel like you have to do that to a team that has a sense of humor, and maybe in a way you want to know that in advance. I don't know how I feel about it, but I would be impressed and mortified, and at the same time, yeah. I think I would laugh. I want to believe I would laugh. Do you have any idea where you want to apply? Yeah, I'll post I might post the progress. I don't know if I'm going to post the progress of Maybel's journey into talking, but we'll see. I don't know if the package got stolen or it just didn't make it to our house, so I canceled it and just reordered it. So hopefully we have them tomorrow, because I was really looking forward to starting over the weekend, and it didn't get to happen. So all right, so now we've got this. Let's hide this. And let's bring in some of these details. Okay. Let's do... let's bring in... Okay, so we're going to treat the patterns the same way that we did with the headband. You know, I don't necessarily want all the patterns to be on separate layers. Maybe she's got this beautiful chest piece, like neckline thing, that will be on its own layer. But all the rest of the patterns, I think I'm going to put them on one drawing and then just use the separate layers to kind of contain them if they need to go in. And I don't think that each pattern needs to have its own drawing layer, so we'll do this, SHIRT, pattern. Okay, let's see if we can grab them. Alright, so copy, looks like only some of them are colored. Copy. Let's bring this in. Let's see if we can finish this. Let me see if I can recolor this. This is going to be interesting. No, I don't think we're going to be able to change this. This we probably have to bring back to Photoshop and change ourselves. Which we're going to leave that for now. The other thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to lock this pattern. You can see here that because of the way that we're pulling these in, they're like the bitmap drawings, the vectorized bitmaps, the clear is clickable. And so we're having, I can't grab, well, I guess my other drawing is also deactivated, but it still should probably be the same problem. I can't click through the pattern, so the way that we solve that issue is we just lock the pattern, and that way when the character moves, that's the only thing that's moving, but we'll have to figure out what we're going to do with that pattern. Maybe I'll leave a note to update that. And then that way, if the pattern is bigger than the object, because right now it's like the bare minimum pattern is showing. So we might have to go in, and again, this is something that I would just send back to the designer and ask them to recolor it. But if that whole pattern was colored, then if the character was to move and do anything like this, none of those little black patches would show. You can see that there's a couple that are getting really close to her waistline, so there's no real black in her actual artwork. So that's something that we'll have to take a look at. But for now, it's all right. And then we can grab the other pattern. So we've got, let's hide this one, so deactivate this. Copy. Check the reference to see what's on top. Okay, so that the line is on top. Let's get that layer one more time. Okay, and we'll put this on the top layer. DreamWorks. Okay, wait. Let me go back. For example, when they were making Coco, a lot of people complained about the cultural aspects of the film, and eventually a lot of people were hired to serve as cultural consultants, so it worked. Yeah, definitely. I think that's really important. I worked on Pinecone and Pony. And an extreme example of this was that they were working with, and I want to be careful because I don't know if the second season of Pinecone and Pony has been released, and I know there's some spoilers that I don't want to mention if it was, but they worked with a disability consultant to make sure that some of the character attributes were correct. And to me, that shows a lot of care. So I really like that. And I like that DreamWorks brought on cultural consultants. I think that's really important. I think that's a big aspect of diversity and inclusion. I like watching diverse films. I don't know if I can say that I like watching foreign films, which is exactly what it is that I'm saying. But there's definitely an aspect to foreign films that I do like. And whenever I see an example of diversity in television or cartoons, I find that that's very eye-catching. So I really appreciate that. There's at the OEAF, they have this pitch this competition every year. It's very popular, it's very big, and I really liked, I don't know whose pitch it was, but there was a pitch for an Indian cartoon, and it basically followed an Indian family, and I really like that idea. I'm kind of waiting for a mainstream Indian cartoon to kind of hit, if that makes sense, and not necessarily in a stereotypical way either. Like, I want to see the culture in a very positive light, and because I have been to India, and I fell in love with it, and I just thought this is probably one of the most colorful cultures I've ever seen, and it just felt like it's like waiting for its time, if that makes sense. So I'm a big fan of bringing in consultants for those kinds of things. Like, I would never be able to contribute to that kind of a conversation, but I definitely can show my appreciation when it does happen. Yeah. But when I found out Pinecone and Pony did it, I was very, very impressed, because I thought that was just an example, especially for television, especially for putting that much forethought into TV. I thought that was really, really special. Oh, Maybel, you were out of breath. You sound like you ran a race. trim anything off this pattern yet. I'm probably going to be reusing this because it's also going through the arm. We're going to have to wait and see too about how this is going to, how the character is going to move through this pattern. This is one of my favorite conversations. Does the character move through the pattern, or does the pattern move through the character? Yeah, different perspectives, and that is why I love DreamWorks, because they have always shown that they care, even in the early years. Yeah, Pixar too. I would put Pixar on that list. I love doing cultural research, so I want to focus on the aspect of integrating cultural elements into design and narratives. Yeah, I think we have a lot to learn, especially from like ancient technologies, ancient cultures. I think we still have a lot to learn. I love, like, I've read a couple books about Native American culture, and they just know the land so well. It's so inspiring. Like just through the process of growing beans, corn, and wheat. Is it wheat? And that keeps the ecosystem balanced for all of North America. Like those three items, or that's how they kind of keep in check with how the earth is. How the earth is. I just think that's wonderful, and I think all ancient cultures kind of, that's all they had was their version of watching a movie was watching the stars at night. So they really got to know, Earth and the things that are happening. And everywhere that I traveled working for Toon Boom, it was very, very apparent that there was something to learn from the ancient culture from like that area, whether it been India, China, Italy. Italy had some really beautiful cultures that blew me away, including, which was really cool, I got to visit a site that was deemed a suspected area for Atlantis. It was ruled out that it wasn't, but at one time it was suspected that the ancient ruin was like Atlantis. And as a kid, that was the thing that I was so obsessed with, was Atlantis. So I thought that was really cool. So I think that we've got a lot of stories coming ahead of us, or at least there's a lot of potential for stories that can. And I think diversity is really what's going to bring a lot of that interest back, and hopefully break some of these. It's not that I don't like the remakes. There's definitely something nice about an original story, and DreamWorks definitely does a really good job. What's their latest one? I'm trying to think of what their latest movie has been. Right now in my brain, all I can think of is Pixar, and what Pixar's doing. But what's their latest film? Sony's also got some really great movies that have been coming out. That's another good one. Do you have like a favorite culture that you would want to study to bring that forward in your design? Okay, let's bring this forward. Where is it? Let's bring in the neckline. Neckline. View. Neckline. Neckline. Where's my neckline? Unplug it. Okay, we got this one. This is the Control X. We're gonna plug this one, unplug this one, and then neckline. This is gonna go underneath, so I'll put it on the underlay layer. Okay, and I'm looking for the pink, and maybe the pink is just a shirt, but then this golden bar itself, so right here. Okay, we'll just cut it. You're from Mexico. There you go. Luis is from, I want to say he's from Costa Rica, or he's from Brazil. I think he's Costa Rican. I think he's from Costa Rica. So you might like his work. You were able to visit the pre-Hispanic archaeological sites. I used to love the road to, I love the Road to El Dorado. That was a beautiful movie. I really like that. I think I still like that one as an adult. Like, that's one of my top cartoons. Road to El Dorado, Hercules, Tarzan. It's all from that area, or that era. That's a good. Those were good years for cartoons. The Renaissance. I believe that they called that the Renaissance of cartoons. You're usually inspired by native cultures of Mexico, like the Mexican Aztecs, and I started to dive into Mayans. Very cool. I started a project with the promise of what if mythological creatures have international exchange programs. Ooh, that'd be cool. That'd be fun. I'm trying to learn more about different mythologies and contemporary culture. Very cool. Though I mean, I'm all for it. I love it. Mexican culture was probably the first one that I was exposed to, so like I fell in love with it pretty early on. And then as I got to travel, I got to get in touch with a little bit more. And the thing that I liked about the Indian culture, it was like, and this is not meant to be insensitive, or this is all out of admiration and just what I observed. But like telenovelas in Mexican culture, very passionate. What are those shows called? The stories. What are those stories called? Like my grandma used to watch them at lunch. Your daytime television. I forget what that's called, but a telenovela would be like the South American Latin culture, I think. But with the Indian culture, I felt like their religion was it was like this very diverse story that almost followed the telenovela structure. as I was learning more about the religion and the characters and the gods, I should say the gods, not the characters. But I was falling in love with like what I was learning, and I was just like, oh, there's just such a potential for like these beautiful stories to come out. Very dramatic and intense. Yeah, and that was kind of like that was exactly the way, like if you think of the stories of Shiva and Ganesh, and I don't think I could do a good job of like recounting these stories from the top of my head. I remember not buying a children's book that depicted the Indian gods and like basically told the story of the Indian gods. It was a children's book, and it was beautifully illustrated. And I regretted not getting it. I haven't seen it since. I haven't seen something like that since. You try not to spend so much money when you're traveling. It was one of those moments, and I kind of regret it. Yeah, and every history is like that. When I went to Italy, there was this beautiful. It's in the summer, and every region. I was in Sardinia, and every region in Sardinia had this beautiful festival, and they basically did the same thing. And there was one night where I was downtown. I was in the main city, and they were doing a celebration, and so it was like everybody got dressed up in their costumes for their culture, and they kind of marched down the street, and it was like a big parade, but it was a very big musical parade, and um, every culture from the island was represented there, and like even when you look at their clothing, I was finding that their family owned like their families that still own silkworms, and those silkworms are what they use to create the fibers to make their clothing. Um, and I That's such a long and patient process, but these silkworms, like over the generations, they're like hundreds of years old. Um, and so anyway, back to this marching parade, but uh, it was probably one of the it's probably one of the wildest things. And my mom was visiting that week too, so she also got to see it. But there was people marching with there was like this like the clan of bells, the clan of bones, the clan of fur, and they all kind of went through this marching procession in their unique way, in their unique costumes. But like they weren't costumes, they were like they were like the represented um, outfits of their culture, and it was just incredibly eye opening. And I just want more. I want more. We have so much room for storytelling in the world. That's why I'm a bit bummed when we remake stuff, but I get it. A good story is a good story. There's more good stories. So good on you. Push, go for it. show your culture, highlight it. The story that you've got right here, the exchange program, that sounds pretty cool. Do you know the Ogopogo? By chance, have you heard of the Ogopogo? The Ogopogo is basically like the Canadian version of the Loch Ness Monster. Ah, nice. Yeah, it's the Canadian version of the Loch Ness Monster, and it basically lives in the Okanagan Lake. And that's really all I could say about it, really. But there's a big statue, or not I don't know if it's a statue or a monument. It's not really a monument, but there's like a big statue of the Ogopogo up in the Okanagan. Yeah, that's Canada's version. So you can look at that. It's basically like a big snake that slithers around the water. What are the creatures that are down in Mexico? They have like I think that's a scary one that I can't think of the name. It's kind of like some sort of beast. Chupacabra? Is that the Chupacabra? Is that Latin American or Mexican? Ooh, okay. Okay, so one thing that I want to do with this neckline is I do want to try and expand it so that, again, we want this shimmy. I'm going to see if I can try to duplicate some of these pieces and then flip them so that we have like the other end of the shirt, so that if in a walk cycle, it's really nice to have anything that's in the center of your body. You want that to shift so that you can kind of show like your shoulders going back and forth. So I want to give that to this character, and let's try and do that now. So what I'm going to do is I'll try to take all the layers, copy, view, flip them. Probably skew them. And I probably don't need them all, but let's see if we can use our oh, Maybel. Let's see if we can do this. Let's clean this up. I'm gonna bring this back. I'm gonna do this instead. Try and keep it straight, but extend. Just keep it extended in case I want to use it for covering. Let's see. Okay, now we're going to close this gap. So how do I want to do this? Control T. I'm just going to steal this chunk here, copy view. Just to hide. That looks good. That looks great. Okay, that worked out. Let's flatten. Let's see if we can flatten that. Excellent. And I'm gonna carve out the center so that it's little. Oops, I didn't mean to take that. Let's carve out this center. Clean out what's going on here. All right, that's one. I think. Let's see what do we got here. Oh, what happened? Oh, let's undo the flattening. Okay, we won't flatten. And we'll use that as our guide. Okay, and we'll fill in this bottom one. Okay, and I'm going to copy, Control T, let's cut away what we don't need, and I'm just going to make a big, oh, that's not what I wanted, Control T, let's get back to the chopper tool, come on, where's my cutter, T, Alt T, there we go. Control X, Control V. Okay, and now we can use this little piece to fill these gaps. Let's see if it'll. I think that'll be good enough. Copy view, flip it. It's a little bit of a texture change, but I'm hoping that with the distance you don't notice. I wish it was a little more straight, but I think that's okay. I think we're gonna get away with that. especially since that part will be cut, so you won't really see it. It's really just to give that little extension. And again, I'm just taking his artwork directly because I don't want to have to recreate it. Well, that's all Luis. I didn't do this. I can't draw. I can't draw. Okay, yeah. Chupacabra is Mexican. They also have a Chupacabra sucker, I think. Or there's Chupa Chups. You have a mermaid called Chicana. Am I saying that right? Is it Ticana? Chicana? That has a snake tail instead of a fish. That's pretty cool. I've never heard of that. That's a new one. We also have like different gnome-like creatures called Chanikis. Ooh, I don't like the name of that one, but it's only because it sounds cheeky. Chinekes. A mermaid called Tiacana. Let me see if I pull. I want to look at that up. Tian Chana. Princess Tiana, we gotta. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's TL. I can't even pronounce that. Tlanchana? Tlanchana? Oh. This. I want to almost see a sighting. Oh, very pretty. That artwork depicting that's stunning. This is really pretty. That's a lot of work. That's very pretty. Oh yeah, look at this. I see that snake now. That's stunning. Do they know like what the connection is? Like, is there like the sirens of the sea? Do they say what it is? Yeah, with the L. I couldn't see it from here. My glasses. Um, yeah, the folklore. Does she lure the ships out to sea and then kill the ships and kill everybody on it? Not that I'm suggesting anybody go and do that. Okay, let's see. Neckline. Let's put this one away. That's done. Oh, let's actually, what was that? Let's get rid of this. Now it's done. Deactivate that. Shirt patterns. We've done that one. We've done that one. What's left? We got this blue. Let's see if we can find that blue texture. Shirt. I'm just gonna. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. That's why. Let's do this. Okay, yeah, that's our texture. All right, so we need this whole thing to come through our shirt. So it looks like that's going to be the bottom. So let's just cut it. And we'll put that at the bottom of our shirt pattern, which I think I have to move around now, but They live in the lagoons. The lagoons are the cenotes. What's the difference between a lagoon and a cenote? I guess a cenote would be not connected to the ocean, and a lagoon would be connected to the ocean. They basically the same as a mermaid. They sing and they drown you. Oh, I wonder what made them so angry in the first place. Oh, what a way. All right, where's my? How come I can't see my patterns? Oh, which? That's why. Oh, yeah, I moved to the second frame. Okay, we've got. What have we got here? Okay, we got this one, we got this one, we got this one, we got this one. Let's put this here. Okay, now we've got our shirt texture. It's very big, which means we're gonna have a big bounding box, but we can always trim it with the cutter tool. Okay, let's hide that for now. Okay, let's go in and look for down here. Let's see what these are. We got some shadows. This is going to be tricky. This is going to be a tricky layer right here because we've got shadows that are specific to the arm, but not necessarily. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this one without sending it back to the designer? Let's see. Okay, where is it? Okay. Let's give this a shadows. Let's do shirt. Let's put this over the patterns. We'll figure out whoops. The Spaniards made them angry, at least in some versions. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. I can see that. When I went to Hawaii, I went for a vacation. This was like one of the things that I wanted to do before I moved to Vancouver, or from Vancouver. I knew I was coming back I knew I was going to be leaving Vancouver at some point, and I was like, as long as I go to Hawaii, because it'll be the easiest to go from here. But there was this giant cliff face that I heard this story and I was kind of obsessed about. And it was like, I'm not going to repeat it well, but the Spaniards came during I think they came during a time of peace, and they landed in Hawaii and everything was wonderful, and then they left. And I think they came back during a time of war. And so they expected peace, but then they got this wartime. But the story goes that they took they got off their ship, they landed, and then the natives took the ship, ripped the ship apart, used the wood, used the nails for everything that they needed for war. But then that meant that the people that were on land couldn't get back to their ship. And so that created a huge conflict between between the actual ship that they were trying to get back to, and the people couldn't get back to their ship. The Spaniards couldn't get back, so they kind of felt like they were being held hostage. And I'm pretty sure that they could not communicate, so they kept saying, "Bring us our ship back." And the natives were like, "What ship?" Because they had taken it apart, and whether they burned it or melted down the nails for things, but the ship was gone. And at some point, they did get these people back. I'm pretty sure they did get these people back to their ship. But the folklore was that every time the Spaniards passed through Hawaii, they would basically drop into. It makes sense. They would basically drop by this location, and they would just shoot cannonballs into the cliffs, into the so there's like this huge cliff, and apparently dolphins would come. Like, that's a place where you see dolphins. So I actually made my sister was with me on this trip, so I made her swim out to see this cliff so that we could see the cannonball markings, like all the pock marks on the cliff. We ended up getting there, just swam in a lot of blue. It was probably not the smartest. But we're both very strong swimmers. We should say, like, we're both very, very strong swimmers. So I don't think that we ever thought that we were in danger, but, like, it's the ocean, and we're not from that area. So those things can change in a minute. So we're probably more lucky than I look back and think, or I probably think about it now and think I look back and like, yeah, you're pretty lucky. But it was probably like a 45-minute swim out and then a 45-minute swim back in open ocean, and just blue. Definitely a highlight and one of those moments that are terrifying. Spaniards. Am I right? Spicy. It was creepy, but it was cool. It was fun. I love swimming, so it wasn't. And we were doing a lot of snorkeling at the time, and it felt safe. And we did see a lot of people. They're probably people that do it all the time, and they're probably Olympians or some sort of surfing champion, because that state is just full of athletes, and like strong athletes, but. We did see people swimming, so it was not like we were totally alone, but we were pretty much alone. Terrified of the ocean. I try so hard not to be terrified of the ocean. What makes you so afraid of the ocean? I know sharks is usually the common. Let's see. Okay, we need to I want to find this arm. Where's this arm? We've got freckles. Okay, let's do some freckles. Let's get some more of these freckles on her. Freckles, here they are. Okay, so we've got some freckles here. Looks like the blush. There shouldn't be a nose in this drawing. Why is there a nose in this drawing? nose here. Let's double check that there's no nose in our freckles. Yeah, okay. Oh, it's locked. That's why. I think I'm accidentally grabbing. Alright, let's put this here. Let's see. I think I already have this layer. So actually, let's undo. I think that's the same. Yeah, that's the same layer. So that's this one. Let's I don't want to unplug that one yet because I think that there's something down here for the hand that I'm not quite ready to say that I'm done with, because otherwise if I unplug that I'm gonna lose it, so I'll keep it, or maybe I'll mark it, the hand. There we go, we'll do that. Is there anything else? There's definitely other aspects of texture in this face. Take the earring. Pop that in front. If it's dark, deep, and there is so much stuff down there that you can't see. Yep, that's exactly what I was feeling when I was doing that swim. If the water is clear, I have no problem though. That and that was probably the thing. I can honestly say though that I kept looking behind me to see if there was like a shark. Because it's all you could see was just blue. We had fins, we had snorkels. And the waves were not choppy that day. Like it wasn't really that big. It wasn't really that. It wasn't choppy at all. It wasn't windy. And all I could see was the blue and the light rays. And it was deep. I don't know how deep. I couldn't see the bottom. But yeah. In those moments, I don't know what it is. It's like looking back, it's scary, but in that moment, I don't think I allowed myself to be scared. Yeah, ain't that life? Yes, I love the ocean. That's why this room is this color actually, because it's the closest thing that I can feel to being in like a wave cap. So it's like that mix of blue, green, white, sea foam, and all that stuff. Since I'm landlocked now, I'm here to tell the story. Yeah, I don't know if it's a great story, but I enjoy thinking back about it. What am I missing? I can't find that piece. Okay, we've got the skirt texture. All right, let's do skirt texture then. If I could find the piece for the arm, I'm pretty sure that this is going to be its own shape for the mask, for that pattern. So if I can find that shape, I can use it to create the arm. Otherwise, I'm going to have to recreate that arm. So I guess I can say I'm looking for that lazy out right now. Let's call this the skirt pattern, or the skirt pattern, skirt texture. Yeah, and thanks for joining me today. We're missing a couple of our regulars, but they're taking she's taking the workshop with me, so she's probably, she probably needs a break. Okay, let's see, this one right here I think was the skirt textures, copy. Okay, and it looks like Control X, looks like her skirt is actually pink. So let's put this underneath. Is that on the right layer? Control X, Control Z. What layer am I on? Skirt is going to be okay. Looks like I accidentally added another drawing. Let's get rid of this one. Let's just copy this one over and delete two. Control X. Go to drawing 1, Control V. And then go to our timeline and we'll just clear out the second drawing. Whenever you do that, you want to make sure that you are looking at the artwork. Oh, let me make sure I didn't not include that overlay. Looks like I didn't get every layer, so let's cut it, paste it. X, Control V. Okay. Okay, now I can delete this drawing. Alright, so you expose it and then you want to make sure that you are watching this drawing substitution window here. You can watch it here, you can watch it here. But sometimes when you delete your drawings, it deletes everything, so you always want to keep an eye on this. So delete your selected drawing. Didn't do it this time, but I would say that 1 out of 5 times, 20% of the times that you go to pull that move, it will actually delete everything, and all the drawings will disappear. So it'll literally look like a completely blank drawing. So you just want to always keep an eye on it when you're clearing your drawings from your timeline. Oh, well, I'm glad you think that I'm nice. I think that I'm nice too. Maybel is nicer, unless you come up to us on the street and she doesn't know you and you're carrying a camera. She doesn't like that. And those people usually know. But I'm glad you're learning. That's really good. Even if you can't know what you're doing like 6% of the time. Oh, you can ask. Feel free to ask. I have a habit of, I'm just working, so I work at my own speed. I'm like fast in moments, but I'm also really slow in other moments or overall. So feel free. I'm really just, and that's the hard part is I'm a lot of times right now I'm just transferring artwork from different drawings. that's kind of the invisible part of the work. There's an invisible part of this where I'm just copying and pasting the artwork from the imported drawing and bringing it into the rig. And obviously hitting the keys, but oh gosh, if there's ever a question, feel free to ask or have me slow down, because I do talk fast, and I know I talk fast, and part of me can help it, part of me can't. Okay, let's see. Let's get rid of these. Okay, wait. Where did my skirt texture go? How come this is missing? How come this is not showing up? What is in front of it? It is in front of the shirt. Okay, and I got this. All right, so we need a cutter. Let's get rid of that cutter because it's kind of blocking our view right now. Cutter. So I take it, if you're major studios for DreamWorks, are you more 3D than 2D, or are you trying to get into 2D? There's a huge population of animation's pretty big in Mexico. There's a lot of studios there. There's a studio called Mighty that's really getting a lot of, I see them everywhere. I see the CEO everywhere. And I got a couple friends that I know that work for them. And then there's a lot of people that come from, I think there's a North American agreement, or there's some sort of agreement between working from Mexico and working in Canada, because there's actually a pretty big Mexican community in Vancouver that works in the animation industry. So I think that's pretty cool. Alright, so the shirt pattern can only be seen through the shirt. And let's bring the shirt back. All right. Okay, and then we need to do the same thing for let's do the same thing for the skirt. Control B. The skirt, here we go. And our skirt texture. One thing that I haven't really talked about too, when you bring the artwork into Harmony from Photoshop, what ends up happening is in every single one of these drawing nodes, you have every single one of the drawings that are in the Photoshop file. So you could look, like if you can see here, this is what makes the scene heavy. So we have all of these drawings in every single one of these drawing layers, no matter which one we look at. So that's something that we don't want to take with us. That's why I'm not using these these separate drawing nodes from, if I go back to my timeline, maybe not my timeline, the top of my network. Here, these are all the Photoshop files right here. So that's why I'm not using any, I'm bringing the artwork into the rig. I'm not reusing any of this because it takes a long time to go through here and clean out those drawings, and I haven't quite figured out how to do that yet in like a more convenient way, because it would be so nice if Harmony didn't do that and every drawing just had its own drawing in it. But that's why I'm bringing the artwork from here into the actual rig, and when we get to the end, all of those drawing layers will be deleted, and the rig will be, in the file will be much smaller. So that's something. You are more into 2D, and you live in the Bay Area of California now. Oh, okay. So you want to work here or in LA. Fair enough. Oh, there's lots of opportunities. Even Atomic Cartoons has a 2D studio in LA. So there's definitely a lot of 2D opportunities. I've never really considered working in LA since I'm Canadian, and that would take a couple of visas. I guess the closest thing, because I'm from Windsor, Ontario, which is across from Detroit. So there's a part of me that wishes I could live in Detroit. I really love that city. I'm wearing my Michigan t-shirt, my Frankenmuth Michigan t-shirt, which Frankenmuth is like a German Bavarian town. It's famous for its chicken. It's rotisserie chicken. But it's also famous for its Christmas store. Mixed media looking. 3D is too logical for you. Well, 2D is, I'm not going to say 2D is logical. So there's a lot of creativity in 2D rigging and 2D animation, 2D in general, Toon Boom in general. 3D, I find, yeah, I can see that. I can see that it's, I mean, that's kind of nice. There's something nice to not having to think about what you have to do, and then there's also something nice about having to think about what you have to do, and you have to find that nice balance to sustain yourself. But I don't know much about the studios down there, or I don't know enough about the studios down there. Minus the strikes that are happening right now. Okay, let's see. We want to use, we want to cut the neckline. Let's cut that. Okay, and we have to come up with a way to bring this pink line in. I'm saying we, but I guess that would be I. To bring this pink line in and trim so that we see skin right there. I also want to see if this can be extended. All right, copy view, flip it. Let's we'll offset a little bit, but we won't. That way the character, again, we want the character to have a little bit of flexibility in its movement, so we want it to be a little longer than what the camera suggests, because this person is trudging along, so we want to give it that flexibility. So I think that should be enough, and we'll put envelope deformers on there so it works. Let's see, we got arms left. Don't need this layer anymore, so let's unplug that. Alright, and then we can kind of just, I think, go through and figure out what is what and what am I missing still. Lips we've done. This one I don't see anything. Let's see if this line is empty or locked. I don't see anything. Oh, gassy, Maybel. Gassy. Okay, arm lines. We've got more patterns. Let's see where these are going to show up. Let's see. Oh, okay, this one. All right, let's take this and let's just cut it into the shirt pattern. And we've got our overlay. We got this one. Let's put it here. Oh, enjoy your long walk, and I will be here for another 20 minutes, so maybe. But enjoy your walk and tell your dog. Oh, the light. Sorry, I tracked off for a minute. Ooh, lighting. In 2D, that's the part that I hate the most. So, but in 3D, it looks cooler. But enjoy your walk, and hopefully see you back here next week. Enjoy. All right, what's left? We got pattern stripe. Okay, we did this one. Oh, I'll leave that plugged in though, since I also want this one to go through the arm. Okay, I think this one is also empty. Hair details, we want that one. Hair shadow, we will need that one. We're getting into our hair stuff again. Are we jumping back to the head? We've got this. We'll have to figure out what to do with that. That's going to be something. That is going to be something. We've got these shadows here. We've got a face highlight. Okay, that's something that I was looking for. And the skin and the base. Okay, well, we don't need the base. So let's get rid of that. And I think we might just be pulling in textures now, and then I'll have to build the arm. So maybe we leave the arm for next week, and then this rig is actually pretty close to being done. I'll have to add deformers. I shouldn't say that. I have to add deformers, and I'm always like, it's almost done. And it's like 6 hours at work, and that's 3 weeks. So we're almost done. Looks like I'll bring the textures in today. That's probably, I'll keep pulling them over. That's probably a good way to finish. And then next week we'll definitely do the arm and the hand. Let's see, where's the front hand? Where's the other hand? It will reveal itself. Let's go. That's the shirt. Hair details. Let's start here. Great. All right, so we've got some shadows for up here, behind the ear. We've got a shadow behind her ear that I have to bring forward. I'm not quite sure where that is, but I think that I hooked it up to the ponytail. So I'll have to bring that forward, and let's just make a copy so that we don't. Okay, let's just put this in the, let's bring it over. And we'll separate it from here. Okay. All right, where is this gonna go? All right, down here, it's gonna go in the ponytail. We've got this, it's gonna be connected to the bigger pony, like the bigger elastic. We've got one for behind the ear. All right, I don't know where that ear line went, but we'll have to add that to the rig. That tiny detail. Okay, I'm going to use the technique where I just delete. So SHAD, shadow, copy, view, Control B, create new columns, Control B, create new columns. I guess I can do Shift B now, Control Shift B. There's 4 shadow drawings, technically 5 shadow drawings, and we'll start assigning them to their roles. How many do I have? I got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, so there's an extra one, but we'll put this one with we'll put this one in the hair. Control X. Ponytail, we got the bangs, ponytails at the end. Oh, what am I doing? I'm doing it backwards, but 1 second. This is not the bangs shadow. I just cut this one, so I won't put it there. I'll put this one with the hat. Let's see, we got the hairband's color. Let's make some more space in this network. It's crowded. It's probably the worst way to push something over, but it's just too risky to get in there. Just too risky. All right, let's bring this shadow over. Risk unselecting or deselecting everything. All right, I got the shadow, I got the band. Let's put it on top for now. Okay, so this is going to go below. We got this one, we got this one, we got this one, we got this one. I want this one. Okay, we're on composites. I guess this is probably where I could start using backdrops and labeling my stuff. Well, Missy, you sound warm or exhausted? It's been tough to get her to exercise lately, so I have been, we've been playing wall ball in the back a couple times a day, just enough to get her moving. She went to the vet, she's put on 7 pounds. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for her to get old. You're okay, Maybel. We're almost done. We're almost done. Alright, let's delete everything. That's the fastest way to do this. So, Alt-T, get our cutter tool, and we'll make that dividing line. And we can hit K to show our strokes to see the edges if we have to trim more, which because we're going to have giant bounding boxes, we might as well. So All right, so that one can go there, and we've got the, this one's the bun and the shadow. This one is the headband. This one is the headband color. So it'll go here. Now, I know I talk a lot about daisy chaining and not daisy chaining, but at the same time, a rig like this, and I know that Luis knows how to add pegs, because we did work on a harmony project together and before, so I'm pretty sure he knows how to do that. He was an animator at the time. And this is just a really nice way to like really quickly animate something. So if you just want to grab, because you know you're going to be moving the headband, the colors and the shadow. So here I'm grabbing the colors by accident. So it's really almost the colors that are driving this thing. But if I lock that, when I grab the piece, now I'm grabbing the hairband. And so that's automatically going to move the shadows for me. So like this, and I'm gonna have to add a cutter. So it will only be seen. Oh, gassy Maybel, that was a big one. I'm gonna need to cut that by the bangs and the hair. But it's a really quick way to, really quick way to animate, because you're grabbing the main piece and then you're kind of animating, and then these pieces are moving with you. So it's not necessarily always what is standard in an animation studio. And I was just talking about Atomic Cartoons. Atomic Cartoons would not do this. Actually, I shouldn't say this. Atomic Cartoons is kind of where I was catching this. What's a bit down low? I noticed that they started to do it, but it's more of an overseas type way of rigging. But I like it. I like the shortcuts. I like the cheats, and Maybel's fart smells so bad. Maybel, you stink. You're so gassy. Oh, she's growling. She didn't like that. She just growled at me. Okay, well, you stink. And so, yeah, I'm going to give him this rig. It's going to be a little bit auto-animate-y. And I hope he appreciates it. I feel like it could go either way, but for these little details like this, I don't see a problem with. I really don't see a problem with creating these kinds of quick cheats. All right, so let's cut it by that. Can only be seen in there, and it can only be seen this one's tough because it's a big piece. You can see here, oof, how that hairline is very difficult to get click past. So Control T, or no, Alt T. Let's cut away some of these details just so that's a little clearer. And if I wanted to, I can even go in and kind of click like this, delete. There's a broken line right here. So I'm gonna, not that one, I'm gonna try that one more time. Copy view. And I'm just gonna match here we go, and that kind of helps copy, extend it a little bit. Oh, too much. Copy, view, do that down here as well. Hey Maurice, how you doing? Welcome. You missed a really interesting conversation about chupacabras and Mexican mermaids that I can't remember the name. TL. Tala. Tala. Ooh. Let's make these longer. I'm just extending some of these details right now so that we can have a little bit more fun with the designs. So copy, view. I guess I could have taken a bigger one from the start, but there you go. The ears should hide those connectors. Oh, actually, do I even need those? Were they in the design? Do I want them in the design? Ooh, I might not want them in the design. Let's remove the one in the middle. There you go. There it is. That's more of the design. Oh, cool. Well, were you ever interested in like folklore when you were growing up? Any sort of mythical folklore? We were kind of talking about a little bit of history, and just the depths of our ancestral cultural stories. What is this piece now? Here we go. Now I can see. Now I can grab it. What is this? Okay, braid. Or bring the braid. Okay, and now we need the nice thing about the summer and having all the windows open is you can hear your neighbors when they're practicing instruments. And earlier today I heard a saxophone for the first time, but I have a neighbor who's really good at playing the piano. And they've been playing recently, and it's super nice to hear. Okay, so we got this thing. All right, so we're going to take this over here. This is going to be, we need more space. Take everything. Oh, I think I just grabbed the wrong. That should work. The wrong button. Greek mythology, yeah, that's a good one. We didn't even talk about Greek mythology. We didn't even go there. I guess the closest that we were talking about was Atlantis. We talked a little bit about the lost city of Atlantis. What's going on with my hair? Watching Ray Harryhausen? Who's that? Who's Ray Harryhausen movies? I don't know that one. Sounds like they're playing like Smashing Pumpkins on the piano. Is that 2 Days the Greatest? It's kind of what it sounds like. Alright, we got, this is the headband. Let's label this one a red. Let's mark it. this is going to go underneath the main one. Red band. The old 50 fantasy movies. I do not remember the 50s. I'm so sorry. I probably watched the same amount of movies from the 50s as I have foreign films, which I admitted to earlier. And that would probably be some Alfred Hitchcock movies, maybe some Fred Astaire. I know I've seen Singing in the Rain. If that's that same era, I do not know. I do not know Harryhausen. The last name's a bit of a mouthful. It's a tough one for me to say. Do you have a movie that you would recommend that would be from then? Okay, does this need to be cut? Yes, and it needs to be below, it needs to be further below. It's above the line, so let's hide it. Ooh, where is the lines? It's actually not gonna go. Did a poor job at cutting these, but I know that it's because I wanted to make sure I wasn't deleting too much information at the time. So now I think it's a good time to go in and trim all this. Delete. I want it to be under this though. Where is this? This is here. So this is going to go here. And oh, that's not the one. I want to cut it by this one. Oh, Maybel, let me finish what I'm doing. Give me a minute, baby. Oh, hello. Oh, everybody's back. I gotta go back. You'll know once you see it. The owner of the Monsters Inc. 5 Stars restaurant. What? Jason and the Argonaut? Jason and the Argonauts. I've heard of that movie. I have not seen that movie. It's too hot for your dog. It's too hot for my dog too. She's literally panting in this room. The guy with the stop motion effects. Oh, that guy. Oh, is that his name? Godzilla. Okay, I know all about the stop motion for Godzilla, and I couldn't remember his name. Is that who that is? That makes sense. What other movies would he have made if that's what you're talking about, the stop motion? Hey, Jaws for Fun. She's back. I am back. It's going. This is the Luis. You remember Luis? Luis Gadea from work at Atomic. Just a little side note. I worked with Draws for Fun. But this is what I'm building his rig. So if you remember him, this is for him. Alright, what am I missing? I'm doing more shadows. Let me finish these shadows. Got more shadows. They're here. What are we missing? We have one for the ponytail, for the end of the ponytail. That's gonna go here. It's gonna be underneath the hairpiece right here that we have to add. Yeah, I don't have to be so afraid now. I can chop a lot of this artwork. Delete. Delete. And yeah, it does look good. It does look good. It's all him. I'm just copying and pasting his artwork. You do remember I have his art book too. I also bought it at Van Calf one year. I bet we bought it at the same time. Let's see. It would be here. I'm gonna do a little shout out to Luis. Let's see if it's in one of these piles. Let's see it. Might be in another pile. Another stack. Sure it's not in here? Oh, my mom has a couple of books too. Maybe she's got it. I don't see it. But I know I have it. Oh. It's the one thing that I've gotten rid of some art books, but I haven't gotten rid of like independent art books. That's a tough one to get rid of. That's a tough thing to shed. Yeah, Luis Works, he's done a great job. It's coming along. It's gonna take, we're almost done. Today we're just finishing up these shadows, and let's see. Where's this ponytail, ponytail lines, ponytail shadow. I almost want to daisy chain some of these details to make it easier. I'll have to go back and like make sure that I'm not mixing too many methods. I'm kind of starting to mix methods right now. Shadow, ponytail. of the harsh line. It kind of fits. There we go. What's left? We had a shadow behind the ear. Let's do that one. Maybel, you're fine. Ooh, you're fine, Maybel. Okay, shadow's right here. Let's just put it behind the ear for a quick second and just see what that looks like. I don't think that's gonna... Copy view. Trying not to change this too much. Oh, can I grab both? I'm gonna grab both. Oh, that looks dumb. That looks bad. Right, this one's gonna be tough. What I'll do is I'll just extend the darkness. So I'll just get rid of the, and then that way it doesn't kind of bleed into the artwork. So now I don't think there's going to be a lot of animation behind the ear, but at least it's there. All right, I think that's it. We still have a lot of texture to bring in, but it's definitely getting smaller. So I guess I'll call that for today. I should leave myself a note. Finish textures or finish arm, create arms. All right. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining me on my stream. It was a fun one today. I really enjoyed the conversations where we went. Let me see. Let me pull this out so that we can see the character a little bit more. Let me hide that circle joint. You don't need to look at that right now, but dang, it's coming along. We're gonna have to figure out this pattern in particular right here, but I think that's looking good. That's looking real good. Yeah, thank you so much. And we'll catch you next week. All right, so stay tuned and thank you again. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. All right, have a good night. Stay cool.